So this is the first time I'm presenting at this event, so I kept the level pretty much generic or high level, and this is the work that primarily my colleague Carmelo Ponti, he organizes. So I'm more or less presenting on his behalf. And earlier today, you had another presentation from CSCS. My colleague Nick Cardo, he gave a very thought-provoking presentation. This is very matter of fact. This is what it is, this is how we do it, and why we do it. So there is, it's more or less about current status of affair. So I thought I would get started with showing some examples. I think I will just go back and quickly. So 24/7 monitoring and on-call intervention at CSCS. So we have a range of systems, and some customer systems have real-time requirements, and for that we have 24/7 monitoring in place. Not all systems are like that. And for that, to support that, and then to support some high availability requirements of other system, we have this on-call procedure in place at CSCS. So I thought I will show some of these emails, and people who are users of CSCS, you have seen things like that. So without going into detail, the thing I want to highlight is already highlighted here. It's Saturday, October 18th, an email sent out in the morning telling people that there was something that went wrong on the system, file system, I mean, you can all see, and then the situation has been restored, but some jobs may have been affected. So the idea being to tell users, most probably you are not affected, but in case you are affected, please contact us, or in any case, please check the output, because file system may impact the way you are collecting and generating data. So there was someone sitting there checking it, in this case not all the time, but in a more periodic way, and this is not our 24/7 availability system. It's another similar email. In this case I have title Pilatus, but this was pretty much sent out to 4 system users, Dint, Yulia, Rosa, and Pilatus. So these are our user lab systems. A user lab is where we, resources are provided to the researchers in Switzerland. Again, the day is Sunday morning. In this case, they say due to an unexpected problem, because we know the systems are down, so if people are getting on, they don't start sending out emails, so the problem has been known, but we really do not know the root cause of the problem. And in this case, we cannot even tell people how quickly it can come back online. But the idea here is we inform users, so if someone is writing or working on a thesis or have a deadline, they know that the situation is there, we know, and someone is working on it, and it will be restored. And if you see that we send another email, and then 4 emails were sent out in this case, because the systems were restored in different order. So it's the same day, but it was right about evening, so you could imagine someone worked through the day and restored the situation. And in this case, we informed Dint user, I think that was the system restored the last, and we say that the system is back up. Most probably things are okay, but because if in any case, if you feel your job was in a state, you feel an unexpected behavior, please contact us. So the idea is how we do it and how we accomplish it, and this is the background of our on-call system that we have in place. So what is the goal? We would like to offer continuity. There are multiple systems at the center, and outside business hours, that is weekends, public holidays. In Ticino, as you know, we have quite a few of them, and outside business hours, we need to provide this coverage. And as you could imagine, that there is a part of finding out something is broken or isn't working as expected, and there is a part of restoring the service. So there are 2 parts of it. So the first part is checking proactively or have something systematic, and then second part is how we train staff that is on that duty to restore these complex and rather diverse system. So the first part, as you can say, training and retraining, because things, even if the system hardware do not change, the configurations might change, ecosystem change, and we have first and second level stuff. I will go to that part a little bit later. Rules and priorities, because as there are multiple systems, you could imagine you have to prioritize if more than one resource is down or unavailable. Documentation, as again I said, their resources are different, customer requirements are different, so documentation is very important. And scheduling in this case is not the job scheduling, it's the scheduling or schedule we set for staff to be on a rotation basis doing this type of services. So then how do we organize it? So we have this first level on-call system team. So it's a fixed number of people. We try to make sure people have their duties every more or less 2 months or just under that. So that the number is not too big, and people do not have such a long break that they need a lot of retraining to do the level 1 support. So it's a small group of people, but they are very much up to date on critical and key services. They have a way to be contacted when they are on call day and night at any time. Then we have a second level on-call service. In this case, these are experts. So for example, you could imagine our storage system site-wide is pretty complex. So after a point, after some basic way of restoring, and basic is, I think I'm probably trivializing it too much, there could be some complex situation where we need to really call up these people who really implemented, configured the storage system. So the first person, if they can't solve it, or if many systems are down, they contact these people. This is best effort, so you may or may not get it. And then level of expert correlate with criticality. So as I said earlier, if it's a global file system, network services, resource management, so we really assign experts to that area, because if these aren't working, more or less systems, if they are healthy, they are unusable from a user point of view. So we define 3 levels at CSCS: level red, orange, and green. In the color, it's probably not that between red and orange, not obvious. Red is our critical, and then it is defined by service level and contractual elements. So we have contractual partners where they require 24/7 services. And it's like I said, highest availability and requirement for an operator. So there is someone sitting somewhere who is round the clock monitoring that operational resource. That person is not at CSCS, but that person can contact the CSCS on-call person at any time. Level orange are central services. So as you could imagine, our level red resources are decoupled from central services, because we cannot have a level red system that depends on a level orange central service. But because central services are very important, they are considered also high availability. Then system are with specific production requirements. For example, our user lab systems, they go there. And there we have a moderate coverage, means that there are some periodic tests during weekends and outside business hours. So it's not continuous round the clock monitoring as in red. And green is, they are all other systems where our contractual partners really do not require us to provide any kind of service, and our R&D system. So people who have worked with CSCS, they know that we have some R&D system, and those systems, if they go down, okay, they go down, but we can wait over the weekend. And how do we implement this? So right now, the way we are staffed and the way we are structured, we have a single system plus is failover. So essentially, one service is service level red, which is designed in a very redundant manner. It's been isolated from other services, but right now we know which system or service has the highest priority. So it's really very clear. Then in the level orange, we have central services and multiple production systems. So we have a list of priorities for central services and production systems. And then when the person on the call if many systems are down, they call the second level, but then if 2 or 3 services are down, they work in that order of priority. And we have some level orange system because our contractual partner required some kind of coverage during the weekend or outside business hours. I wanted to say a little bit about documentation and reporting, because there is one thing that that we can come up with these rules and regulation, but the most important part is how you train staff, how you document, and how you learn from your experience, meaning when things really go down and you have a rule in place, then oftentimes things don't fail in the same manner twice. So then you have to improve on or learn from experience. So first thing we make sure is we schedule who is on call every week on a yearly basis. So way ahead of time, people know, so they can plan their vacation, or if they have to exchange with someone, they know someone is there for coverage. So we do it more or less a year ahead of time. The training schedule, it goes throughout the year. It's mandatory for level 1. And on top of this, based on new systems or configuration coming in, we require system experts to update and organize these. There is a financial element and learning element, so we require people who are on-call service, and if they have to do an intervention, they document what they have done in a templated form. So that's another example. Towards the end of a year, usually in November, we do the yearly review. We see what went wrong, how many downtimes, how many outages, where things didn't work as planned, and how we can learn from that experience. And this, so more or less right now, we are in final reporting and recommendation phase, looking back at the year. And then we, like I said, we do the documentation or reference material for systems and services. So this is a very important part. So this is a high-level incident report, which usually a manager, like I would produce it, or Nick at some point, or in this case, Stefano produce it. So if it produces it, so idea is if multiple systems are down, we really take it very seriously. So even after the things are restored, someone goes in and does like a postmortem analysis, and after that we write usually what happened, why did it happen, what are the next step, and what are the conclusion, because sometimes some recommendations are made in this type of report. I thought I would present 1 or 2 recent case studies on how things work out in practice. So for those of you who have used CSCS system, during August, we had a lot of thunderstorms. And as you could imagine, it's a big facility, so it's not really cost effective for us to have everything on UPS, so it isn't. And of course, level red systems are on UPS. So it's in one of these incidences, we had some outage, power outage. So the level red services were unaffected because it is designed to, stay up in this type of situation. But as a result, we had multiple orange systems that went down, all at the same time. So the on-call person identified these multiple failures. They sent out emails to people or mail lists that they are supposed to. Then they went through the level or order of priority, and then they went one by one and tried restoring the situation. In some cases, they would call up a manager for extra resources or second level support. And then once things were restored, we informed and provided feedback to the user. There was again a recent example where we had a problem on our central file system, central GPFS file system. The failover didn't work properly. And as a result, we had multiple systems affected, but our level red was unaffected because it's been designed to stay out of this type of issues. So the on-call, they went in and then they verified But in this case, we know some of the simulation on the level red system may have some dependency. So the first thing they did is they still went in and then verified everything on level red is still working fine. Then we went to the orange level system, and the rest of the process was pretty much same, and because there were multiple systems, they called the second level and they restored the situation. So this is my last slide. So the idea is, okay, no one likes failure, especially or unscheduled interruptions or events on the system. But if we would like to design a fully redundant system that can withhold all the outages and problems, the cost will be phenomenal. You can design it, like someone, I think they have on their slides, we are a university, not a bank, or things like that. So there are high availability system, but it comes with those come with a price tag. What we attempt to do, and I think we are being quite successful, that we designed this on-call service, and we structured it in a way where we can, especially for one customer, we can offer this 24/7 availability. And on top of that, we can provide some high availability for multiple orange level system without proportional costs that would go otherwise into designing or operating those systems. So with that, I can take any question from anyone, if you have.